Welcome to the 2018 Catholic Marketing Network International Trade Show. We are here with Francine Calabrese at booth 821, and Francine is presenting her Little Brown Scapular coloring book. Hi, Francine.
Hello.
Francine, I would like to ask you several questions. Francine, what is the Little Brown Scapular Apostolate?
The Little Brown Scapular Apostolate is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that was formed to reintroduce the devotion of the brown scapular back into the parishes and the Catholic schools.
Why?
Well, the reason being is that in the society that we're living today, there is such a great need for our children to be brought closer to the Blessed Mother and to Jesus. And the brown scapular is not a new sacramental. It's been around for centuries. And years ago, the First Holy Communicants received a brown scapular when they received the First Holy Communion. And throughout the years, this devotion has kind of fallen away. So my mission is to bring it back to the churches and to the Catholic schools, to reintroduce it, because it's such a beautiful sacramental and so needed in our times that we are living today.
What inspired you to write a children's coloring book?
Well, I am a secular Carmelite, and we meet at a monastery, or we did actually. We used to meet at a monastery, a Carmelite monastery, and the prioress in that monastery had this apostolate, and the person that was volunteered to do this apostolate could no longer do it. So Mother Prioress at the Carmelite Monastery approached our secular Carmelite community to take this up as an apostolate. And when it was presented to us, I was over the moon about it, because I am so devoted to the brown scapular. It is what brought me into Carmel. So I totally wanted to be a part of this apostolate. And so I said to myself, how can I get the message across to these parishes, to these Catholic schools? And the brown scapular needs to be taught. You cannot just give a child a brown scapular, or anybody who really doesn't know about it. So I wrote a children's coloring book. Kids love to color, they love visual, and it teaches them about the brown scapular and the benefits on wearing the brown scapular.
Okay, well, tell us about the brown scapular coloring book.
Okay, well, the brown scapular coloring book, every book comes with a brown scapular. And I start out actually by talking about the origins of the brown scapular. So I talk about a little bit about Saint Elijah. He was a hermit, okay, and later on he was hermited on Mount Carmel. And later on, the hermits became known as the Carmelites. So I just give a little bit of information about that. And then I talk about how the Blessed Mother appeared to Simon Stock and gave him the brown scapular. And then I go on to talk about what the brown scapular is and how it's worn, and the benefits you get by wearing the scapular. Now, the scapular is a sacramental, okay? It is not a lucky charm. It is given to us by our Blessed Virgin Mary. And this sacramental helps us to grow in virtue, helps us to grow in holiness. It helps us to become more like Jesus and the Blessed Virgin Mary. And then I go into the miracles that are attached to the brown scapular. There's a lot of miracles that have happened because of the brown scapular, and because the people had such deep faith in God and the Blessed Mother. especially the last one of the last apparitions, the last apparition of Our Lady of Fatima, October 13th, 1917. The Blessed Mother, Our Lady of Fatima, appeared as Our Lady of Mount Carmel. And one of her messages was that we wear the brown scapular and that we pray the Rosary daily, because the brown scapular and the Rosary are inseparable. Okay, so that was one of her messages, and that's also what Sister Lucia mentioned to us before she passed on, that this was an extremely important devotion in our times that we're living today. So wear the scapular and pray the Rosary every day.
Thank you, Francine, for sharing with us the Little Brown Scapular coloring book.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.